Tory Bruno. I've been a rocket scientist for 40 years, and I got to tell you that every single day has been an adventure. I have gotten the opportunity to do just amazing things. I have slept on a torpedo. I have shot a bullet out of the sky with another bullet. I have stood in the middle of Armageddon with all of its terrifying and awesome power. But I have also sent a spacecraft into orbit around the sun, the fastest human object in the universe, flying directly through the literal atmosphere of the sun. There is no career like a career spent in service to this great nation, service to the awesome cause of exploration, and service to the great calling of human dignity around this planet. And now, on the burn sequence, I'm going to pull that curtain back a little bit and let you look inside. So welcome to our show, and welcome to the burn sequence. As usual, I'm Tory Bruno, your personal rocket scientist, and this time we have a really, really special guest. This guest is an expert on logistics, on propulsion, on launch operations, and has been doing this job quite a while, since about maybe 280 CE. Welcome, Santa Claus, to the burn sequence.
Oh, thank you, Tory. Always happy to take a break from the workshop and compare mission patches. Mine just happened to come with sleigh bells. I'm sure you can relate to the jingle putting a little giddy up in your step.
Oh, yes, absolutely. But you know what, Santa, I think we better just jump right in, because I know this is your busy season. You know, one might say it's the Christmas rush for you. So I got a couple of questions for you. You know, the first thing is, how do you do this all in one night? You know, is it time dilation? Have you got some kind of classified propulsion system that, you know, we need to know about here at ULA? If you've got something like that, you know, is it some kind of Christmas magic? What's the secret?
Well, as you might guess, it's a few different things. It's a blend of efficient path planning, what you call guidance, navigation, optimal sequencing, and yes, a healthy sprinkle of Christmas magic to get the job done. As you know, we check the list twice, but part of that double check is the path planning to make sure every house gets hit in the optimal order. It's a tall order for the elves to make sure we catch every home for every girl and boy. But Christmas magic is what lets us jump from point to point in a flash.
All right. Well, I was listening pretty carefully there, Santa. I think I, maybe pulled out a few things. First, it's just like a launch vehicle, it sounds like. A lot of planning, a lot of checklists, worrying about orbital mechanics, you're worrying about delta V. Sounds like everything gets double checked. What a success rate, 100% mission success for you. You've never missed a kid who was nice on Christmas Eve. And, I think maybe I heard maybe there was some stellar sighting happening, maybe star sensors, maybe some inertial nav in that reindeer brain. I don't know, maybe some blended GPS. I think some of that was, I know you were talking around at Santa, but I think I heard some of that. But, down to brass tacks here, how do the reindeer and their propulsion really stack up against, like a mighty Vulcan with its BE-4 rocket engines on the first stage?
Well, Dasher and Blitzen deliver incredible leaping thrust in all weather conditions. But without the Christmas magic, they wouldn't get the starting and stopping power they need. And they're very quiet. Of course, that's good for all those people taking their long winter naps. But I've got to say I'm amazed at those methane-powered rocket engines. No magic, just rocket science can hurtle anything you want into space. The sheer power rivals Christmas magic, but it's a little overkill for the house-to-house jumps. Not to mention, it would be kind of hard to slip in and make our deliveries with the noise of rocket engines. For us, it's all about getting the right propulsion system to meet those system-level requirements and stakeholder expectations.
Oh, well, I guess you're probably right about all that. Although, I got to say, we probably got you beat on chamber pressure, at least.
I'm not sure I want to be behind a reindeer if it's suffering from high chamber pressure there.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. So I'm a little curious. We measure in our world our propulsion system efficiency through parameters like ISP, specific impulse. Yeah, what do you do for the reindeer?
It's a cold environment up in the North Pole, but ISP really isn't the right measure for us, right? It's all about the Christmas magic. I leave it to the elves to understand how it works. And we've got a few scientific ones that are there just to help keep us in the straight and narrow. But the beauty of reindeer power is it's more about the starting and stopping power. Your steady state fuel efficiency is going to beat us with those rocket engines, but for us, it's the bound that's covering the ground between rooftops that is what we really need to be able to do in the blink of an eye. It's interesting to think that with the Earth rotating under us, that blink of an eye, if I'm off by a millisecond, it's 1.5 feet of miss on that rooftop landing. So we try and keep very tight control.
So accuracy is just as important to you as it is to us. But I guess you're right, Santa. I didn't really think about it. We spend a lot of time putting delta V in. Sometimes we'll take it out once for a deorbit, but we don't have to start and stop. That's got to be really tough. So, I kind of want to come back to this navigation thing you've talked about a couple of times. I hinted at, GPS, blended solutions, inertial nav. You didn't give anything away. So I want to come back to it. What's really guiding your sleigh around the world?
Well, really, it's, again, a combination. We've got celestial navigation for making sure we've got a good bearing. We've got the Earth's magnetic fields that the reindeer rely on. And we do have cooperation with NORAD, but we tend to stay away from commercial tracking systems like GPS or ADS-B. I keep track of where we are with the stars, very precise timing relative to when we left the North Pole. So with that, I can narrow in on exactly where we are. The reindeer have a natural sense of the magnetic fields, and so they can keep us pointed in the right direction for each leap. Of course, flying through the airspace can be tricky. So I don't want to collide with anybody, but I really don't want anybody knowing exactly where I am every minute of the night. And so thankfully, we have that relationship with NORAD. So every time I jump up and take a bearing, we can communicate with NORAD and let them know where we are on the journey.
Okay, so it keeps it safe.
It keeps it safe. But it all goes back to the flight plan that elves built off the list.
Well, like we said before, and clearly you got a list and you're checking it twice, including the flight operations. But, one of the other things I'm kind of curious about is, you have to go once a year on one night. That's it. There's no backup launch windows for you. We occasionally get scrubbed by heavy weather. There's nothing we can do about it. Our phase 2 lightning or our winds at the pad that exceed our allowables. How do you cope with that? You've never been stopped by the weather.
No, and with all the girls and boys counting on us, there's no way we could scrub. So we rely on the magic, but mostly the sure feet of the reindeer. They can get us from house to house regardless of the weather. Then with those pop-up maneuvers I mentioned, we can get a new bearing and get a precise track into the next town or village. And so with that, I admit it sometimes gets a little bit exciting, but it's all in a good night's work. Honestly, though, I do have a great team, and it does require a lot of faith in that team, the reindeer and the elves responsible for the flight plan. And it's always good to have that really good guidance and control.
There's kind of a theme here, Santa. I mean, it almost sounds like you've got just a real affinity for not just orbital mechanics, but, navigation, guidance, and control. Yeah, wow. Kind of a clue there in terms of your background. So, I think I want to come back to the elves because you've given them a lot of credit. So it sounds like you got a pretty skilled team, very dedicated, kind of like our engineering teams. They really care about your mission, and when I put all that together and I think about our world, is it what's harder, Santa? Is it hitting every spot on the world the way you do? Or maybe going to one of these direct inject to geosynchronous orbits, which is our hardest mission. What do you think?
Well, that's a tricky question. I'm dealing with polar routes, right? Going from pole to pole.
True.
While I have some long stretches over the open ocean, it's not as hard as that long coast to Geo. I also get to enjoy the aurora borealis from below in the atmosphere, and I don't have to deal with the radiation belts or the vacuum of space. So I'm pretty sure the reindeer would have something to say if they had to go 22,000 miles without a carrot break. My logistics for flying pole to pole seems a whole lot easier than flying out to Geo. Thankfully, I have the kids to help with the reindeer supply chain. I can't even guess how your supply chain helps you get all the way to Geo and beyond. So I guess Geo seems harder. And for me to get way up there, we'd need to take the cookie density to a whole new level.
Might have to subcool those cookies, huh? Well, yeah, you've got great elves. I've got great technicians, great engineers, just a really good team through all the disciplines, and also, quite a capable, sort of supply chain. I wonder what, how you feel about all of that when you look in from the outside.
Well, up at the North Pole, we've got the elves and reindeers and a handful of magical raw material sources. But for us, it's all about the Christmas spirit. We all believe in the mission. But ULA, you have thousands of suppliers across the entire country. Your mission touches people in almost every state of the United States. It's amazing to think about how wide the ripples of your operation impact reaches. Drawing expertise from the parts and pieces that you turn into the amazing rockets like Vulcan. What magic do you use to keep all that humming?
Well, it's all about commitment to that mission, and you're right. We've got suppliers just in California and Colorado and Florida, our main factory in Alabama, so lots of suppliers clustered around it. Almost every state in America has a source for us that helps us build this rocket. And of course, our people are just so dedicated, and that flows into our broader team of our supply chain. That's really, that's really how we do it. And they just have just a real creativity and a real commitment to excellence in everything they touch.
That's amazing. We all work our own kind of magic. I guess elves and engineers have more in common than most people think.
Yes, they do.
People focus on the sleigh and the presents, but the real magic of the North Pole is the generosity, craftsmanship, and joy in the work. When I visit places like ULA, I see that same spirit, knowledge passed down, talent nurtured, people taking care of each other. I appreciate so many people that are generous with their time, talent, and treasure. It can set the tone for a village, town, community. The craftsmanship, the care people take in their work and effort is reflected in the things they build and the community they belong to. And joy is always infectious. It permeates everywhere and connects us all together. That sense of connection, that's what makes missions succeed.
Well, it's important that you mention that, because we talk about this on the show all the time, that, in rocketry, there's so much technology that it's easy to focus on that. But at the end of the day, it's really all about people. And you're an inspiration to us, Santa. Your mission is, you have that Reindeer propulsion system, you've got that magical NG&C, and yet you're all about delivering joy to children around the world. And we like to feel that way too about our customers and our mission. And the families, the mentors, the teachers, communities that are supported by space, it's all about that for us as well. So now I think we ought to, change gears a little bit and talk about the future. You've got this pretty cool kind of zero emission transportation system with the Reindeer. You seem to have a very high propulsion efficiency. That act's pretty hard to follow, so what can you say about all that?
Well, we've had the benefit of refining the model over the centuries. That and our efforts have been able to scale as the needs grew. Scaling up has never been easy, but the Christmas spirit and the joy that we bring is infectious and draws helpers. Many hands help keep the workload manageable, and it still requires many elves as well as the reindeer. But we love the pristine beauty of the North Pole, so we do what we can to keep it special for all of us.
That's really cool.
I suppose the zero emissions results from our leave no trace approach. Last thing I want is a trail that somebody could follow and interrupt my routine. Staying on task is critical to the joy of all those kids around the world.
Well, that is awesome. Well, in our world, we have introduced our brand new rocket, Vulcan, and it's now flying. But we're not done either. You've got over 1,000 years of continuous improvement, so we got a ways to go, and we have plans. We have our ACES Advanced Upper Stage in development. We've got reusability coming into our rocket. We have all of these things. But I wonder, even after all this time, do you still have future upgrades that you're exploring in your system?
Well, I've been tracking those small microreactor development efforts going on. So we've considered nuclear sleigh, propulsion, maybe just a small reactor, nothing too fancy, just enough to keep the chill away. We're keeping an eye on humanity's march out into space. More people are going into orbit, people talking about a permanent presence on the moon and colonizing Mars. Our current operations aren't quite ready for that leap.
Well, that's pretty cool. And, I guess that I just got to ask you then, Santa, kind of big picture. You're the gift guy. So if there were one gift that you could give to humanity relative to the future of space, what would that be?
Oh, I think it would just be the same as it would be even outside of space, and that's generosity, joy, and a sense of wonder.
Well, now I got to ask you a personal question, Santa.
Oh,
So the staff did a little research, and we noted that you are coming up on an anniversary with Mrs. Claus. It'll be 1,745 years, and I'm just kind of curious. What's the jewel for that? Is it like a diamond? Is it a chip off of the core of a neutron star? What do you do for 1,745th anniversary?
I'm just glad it's not the 1800th one. I'd be in trouble. But I would go with a giant cookie that we share with all the elves. It's really a celebration for the whole community when you hit those kind of milestones.
Yes, it is. All right. Well, we're down to the lightning round.
Okay.
Did I warn you about this, Santa?
Oh, just a quick heads up.
All right. So just a reminder for our viewers, this is the A or B kind of thing. I'm going to shoot these questions at you. You got to pick one or the other. Well, actually, you can pick a third one if you want. You don't have to explain your answer. You can if you want to. But we're going to start with the one I ask everybody.
All right.
Kirk or Spock?
Oh, for me, it's got to be Kirk. He's all about the spirit of things.
Okay, that's a good answer. Now let's talk about propellant. Hot cocoa or eggnog?
Oh, well, I love eggnog. On those cold winter nights, it's all about the cocoa.
All right, that's a good choice too. Yeah, me too. I'm all about the cocoa as well. All right, so what sound really says mission success to you? Is it sleigh bells or rocket bells?
Oh, good one. Well, I'm sure those rocket blast from those bells is awesome. For me, it's all about the jingle.
Well, I would be surprised if you said anything else. Star tracking or GPS?
While a lot of the time is spent using house-to-house relative nav, star tracking is the only way to go at my speeds and the varieties of altitudes I take bearings at. An interesting thought for your listeners, since I'm tracking close to midnight everywhere, the star field is basically fixed, and it's really just coming down to the timing as I go from village to village.
Oh, yeah, and you're doing that polar orbit, so
That's
the
right.
Earth is spinning underneath you. Timing's everything. They got that pretty good timing signal coming off those GPS satellites.
Oh.
All right, how about this one? Rudolph or Comet?
Well, I have a warm spot in my heart for Rudolph after that first foggy night where we couldn't even see the chimney in front of us. So I'd have to go with Rudolph.
Fair enough. Now, we've been talking about all the good stuff, but, occasionally there's a naughty child out there. So when we come to coal, bituminous or anthracite?
Oh, I'm all about bituminous.
Are you? Yeah, me too. I mean, anthracite is, it's kind of high tony in terms of coal.
Yep.
A little too fancy for us, I think. All right, toy cars or toy rockets?
Oh, now there's a tricky one. I think it depends on the age. I start with toddlers with a toy car because they can push it with their fingers, but as soon as they're walking, it's rockets.
All right, one more. Kris Kringle or Santa Claus?
Well, for me, it's Santa Claus.
Me too. Yeah, me too. All right, well, we're out of time, Santa. So thank you for being on the burn sequence. And I guess I better let you get back to work. It's kind of a busy time.
It is a busy time. And speaking of getting back to work, I have a little something here for you.
Merry
present. Christmas, Tory.
I'm getting a present from Santa. Oh, look at this. Can I open it now or do I have to wait?
You can open it now, sure.
All right, I'm opening it. Oh my gosh. Look at that. It is a Vulcan Hawaiian shirt. Oh, look at that.
Oh,
that is awesome. I guess I'm going to have to go to Hawaii now. Well, Santa, I got something for you too.
Oh, well, thank you, Tory. You didn't have to.
Mug.
I appreciate that.
You're very welcome.
You have a wonderful holiday season, and the best to you and all yours.
Thank you. You too. Give my regards to Mrs. Claus.
Will do.
All right. So long, folks. See you next time.